Minecraft. A seemingly innocent game, right? Well, maybe not, because while it doesn't directly promote or engage in any malicious conduct, the communities that sprawl from it can and will. With how much corruption, targeting of minors, and straight up harassment goes on behind the scenes, it's no wonder why Mojang tells us to play multiplayer at our own risk, as there is a side that's not so pretty. I'll be diving into some pretty heavy and disturbing topics in this video, so this is your warning to click off if this topic makes you feel uncomfortable. Other than that, get ready to venture into the dark side of Minecraft. Oh boy, where to begin? Okay, so obviously there are specific examples of single servers or players like 2B2T or PopBob, but I will get into those later, as for now I'll focus on a broader scale that could affect everyone watching this video. To start, I will talk about the toxicity that exists in the multiplayer experience. According to a 2022 study, 21% of public messages sent across all servers were more likely to be harmful than compared to a private message, meaning that 21% of players are more likely to go out of their way just to cause chaos and ruin someone's day. Intense start, eh? Well, it just gets worse, as Minecraft has recorded the most malicious downloaded files out of any game, and by a pretty big margin, beating the second biggest game out by over 100%. What this really means is that your chances of getting a virus while downloading a texture pack, mod, or skin is higher than any other game, which is a big problem for multiplayer, as many servers have downloadable content that you need in order to play them. This means that hundreds of people could be infected with the virus if the server doesn't properly do a background check for whatever downloadable content they require. So great, it turns out that many players go out of their way to harass people, and that we have a higher chance of downloading a virus on Minecraft than any other game. How could this get any darker? Well, somehow it does, and that's because it involves 2B2T. I think we all know 2B2T's infamous reputation at this point, but I want to use one player in particular from the community, and his name is Jared2013, as not only did he hack and mega grief, but also according to a 2022 interview, he doxed at least 250 people and used their information as blackmail, threatening to even SWAT at times. So now you may be asking, why he did all this? And well, it turns out he was just trying to act cool, as apparently it was a trend back in the day on 2B2T. I think above all, this really just goes to show how malicious that server was, and in large part still is, and how people will straight up harass you for fun. Now that I've gone through many in-game examples, I will now shift my focus towards influencers in the space, and how even with their massive online presence and persona, they turned out to be completely different people behind the scenes. Now, as many of y'all already know, Minecraft influencers don't exactly have the best reputation from all the dramas and controversies that have happened over the years, and while I think their reputation is not deserved, there definitely are some legitimate cases that need to be discussed so something like it never happens again. In particular, I want to talk about Call Me Carson, Jikashi, and last but not least, Linemaker. To start, we'll talk about Call Me Carson, and how he went from one of the most popular content creators to fully off social media in less than a month. In short, at the age of 19, Carson was actively sexting a girl who was 17 at the time, and it even got to the point where sexually explicit pictures were exchanged. The allegations were then confirmed by Carson's friends, as they exposed messages where Carson confirmed that he was guilty. For months, Carson was off all social media, but around 8 months later, he returned and vowed to donate all his earnings to charity. In the present, Carson still streams and uploads to YouTube, and even though he isn't nearly as popular as he once was, he still has a decent following that tunes into whatever he posts. Although Carson was able to come back to social media, he will always have the stigma of a groomer, no matter how much good he does. The next creator we talk about was a rising star at the time, and was on his way to fame before controversy would plague and eventually ruin his career. The creator in question being Jikashi. Now, you may know Jikashi as the streamer who was on Dream SMP for like 2 days, but there's a reason it was so short-lived, and that's because Dream permanently banned him after allegations of grooming surfaced, which were later confirmed to be true by screenshots and testimony. What happened was Jikashi started talking to a girl that was 13 while he was 18. At first the messages were lighthearted, but fast forward a year and Jikashi started to get really pushy and apparently joked about sending news until they eventually exchanged explicit pictures of themselves. At the time of the exchange, she was only 15, which meant that Jigashi was 20 when this took place. After she came forward on Twitter with this information, many other girls did as well with similar stories, which led to Jigashi leaving all social media and deleting every digital trace of himself, never to be heard of again. For our last story, we'll be talking about a YouTuber that actually served almost a year in jail for what he did. The culprit, you may ask? None other than Lionmaker Studios. Now, as many of you already know, Lionmaker was a Minecraft YouTuber that turned out to be a secret pedophile, but what you may not know is to the extent of which he engaged in these malicious acts. First off, unlike the previous two examples, Lionmaker had actual in-person sexual relations with a minor, and to all of our discomfort, she was 15 and he was 27 when those said relations took place. Truly a disgusting act, but it keeps getting worse, as apparently he would also Skype and message many other underage fans while wielding child pornography on his devices. He did end up serving 10 months in a Belgian holding cell on grounds of being a danger to society, but after his stint in jail, he ended up making content again until 2020, where YouTube finally banned his account from their platform. In the present, I honestly have no clue what he's doing, as there's nothing I could find on the internet about him after 2020, so I guess as of now, he disappeared and will probably never be seen again in the mainstream. As we unfortunately saw throughout the video, Minecraft is not all sunshine and rainbows and is home to many dark and twisted stories. Whether that be doxing, messaging minors, or a straight up felony, it is a shame that these events took place in a community that we hold near and dear to our hearts. But the thing to remember is that even if there are some malicious and disgusting acts that take place in the community, it's not being arbitrated by the majority. Actually, most of the bad that happens in Minecraft is only being played out by a very small minority of players. Considering that Minecraft is the most popular video game of all time, there's bound to be some controversy and deprivation that happens in its 14-year history. So with all those factors accounted for, is Minecraft overall a toxic and dangerous game? No, not at all. In fact, its community is better than most games out there, as trust me, there are some much smaller games with much more controversy. So while I think it is important to cover this topic as a learning experience, I don't want to distract you from all the good and fun that exists in Minecraft, and while it sucks that some of those not so favorable activities happened and continue to happen, don't let that take away from all the amazing things that have happened in this community as well.